On this trip across Indiana, we'll reveal the mysterious secret, forged in war and hidden in confidence, that this man has kept for more than 60 years.
I said, hey, we shot Glen Miller down. He said, shut your mouth.
For our doughboys who've liberated Paris, some welcome news. Major Glen Miller and the Army Air Force Band is on the way. One of the best-selling recording artists of 1939 to 1942, the Iowa-born legend who brought us In the Mood, Chattanooga Choo Choo, and Moonlight Serenade. Major Miller is breaking new ground by applying a...
It sits harmlessly in front of the Greencastle Courthouse. But 60 years ago, the drone of thousands of them in the skies over London heralded a wave of destruction and sent an entire city into the safety of underground shelters. What devastation Hitler's V-bombs wreaked on bricks and mortar was equaled by the damage they did to morale. So much so that the beaches of Dover soon became lined with powerful anti-aircraft guns designed to bring them down. This was the home of the 134th AAA Battalion, and it was where a Clay City farm boy found himself in September of 1944. Clarence B. Wolfe was the youngest of 11 children. He left both a tough life and a Hoosier state, ravaged by the Great Depression when the draft came calling. He performed well enough in basic training to land a job manning the computers which targeted the 90mm guns that protected London.
They had 15 miles of guns lined up on the coast, and I'd compute all the data, send it the gun. You had to do it quick, because this coming at you 400 miles an hour. Then I'd relay it to the captain, give him commits fire, then he'd give the guns commits fire. I didn't give the guns commits fire. We were good.
September 9th was amazingly absent of incoming V-bombs from the enemy. In fact, it seemed like a day in which nothing much remarkable was going to happen at all. Approximately 140 miles away at Twinwood Farm Airfield, it is alleged that Major Glen Miller took off on a short flight across the English Channel to Paris.
No targets. All of a sudden, Dover sent me a target. I locked on it, which I have to do, you know what I mean? And when I did, I noticed, hey, this airplane is slow moving. It's traveling from England to France, going right across in front of us. And I told the captain, I said, you got a target, but it's not a V-bomb. But I told him also, it did not have an IFF. Now it's important. Every plane, American plane, had an IFF built into it. That identification friend or foe. All of a sudden, commenced fire. Dover said, target down. And next day, I went to the command post. He was walking out, drunk. I said, hey, we shot Glen Miller down. He said, shut your goddamn mouth. Later on, he said, let that just be between you and me. Okay. My feeling is they knew exactly who we shot down. Because there was never an inquiry. Nobody ever came down their outfit. Nobody said, did you shoot? Everybody knew we shot. But I'll tell you, to get rid of us, they got us over to France. Them generals covered that up pretty good. Let me tell you, they didn't want nothing said about it. Now the captain had to account for these 36 rounds of ammunition because you had to account for them, you know. So what do you do? Pretty smart. He said, I calibrated the guns. The guns were dead on. They didn't need calibrated. They were perfect, but he had to have an excuse, and they bought it.
During his service time, Wolfe survived many close calls with the enemy. To this day, the pain of believing that he played a part in Glen Miller's death is still apparent.
It hurts me this day to know he's dead, you know what I mean? And I had to be part of it. Now, that is just terrible. Damn, what a shame, you know what I mean? You can't bring him back alive.
There are many different stories of how and when Glen Miller died. There is no official word on how it really happened. Clarence Wolfe is 82 now, and although he says he feels like a man 3 decades younger, he is in the twilight of his life. But now is an appropriate time, he feels, to be released from his oath. through an autobiography about living through the terrors of war, only to harbour a tragic secret. It is called simply, I Kept My Word.
I made the captain a promise that I wouldn't tell, and I kept it 61 years.
This is his story, about the bond he shared with a man who barely spoke to him and never looked in his direction after September the 9th, 1944. And about the burden he says became his to shoulder the day Glen Miller took off on a mission of goodwill and flew into mystery.